welcome. I'm Kerrys Virgo, and I'm very excited to be hosting this live event brought to you by Sparker, the upcoming virtual dating app on iOS. So today we have 4 experts with us, and they'll be telling us a little bit about themselves and what they do. And after each speaker, you can ask a few questions and they'll be happy to answer. So I guess we'll just get started. And today, the first speaker will be Jocelyn Silva. Welcome. She's a sex coach who helps women and femmes let go of shame and embrace their sexy with confidence. So without further ado, over to you, Jocelyn.
Thank you so much, Kerrys. Thank you, Danny, for asking me to be here. Hello, everybody. Good morning and happy Sunday. I am so excited to talk to you today. And today what I really want to discuss with you is what this quarantine has taught us about dating and the importance of having awkward conversations before engaging sexually. So one of the biggest transformations and shifts that this quarantine has created for the dating world is that people are actually getting to know each other on a deeper level before meeting in person. Because now literally all you have is FaceTime, Zoom, texting, and phone calls in order to be able to connect. Whereas before with the dating apps, a lot more individuals were much more quick to meet in person rather than to get to know the person before actually meeting them. Now, one of the biggest things that I have seen in my work and have noticed from a lot of people is the inability to talk about sex before engaging sexually. It's like this afterthought that happens, right? It's like, okay, we're gonna date, we're getting to know each other, we're asking questions about life and work and family, but we forget to ask the questions like, what do you like in sex? Like, what do you like to be done on you? What do you like to receive? What do you like to give? What don't you like? What do you like? And oftentimes what I hear from people is, I don't know what I like. So I'm just gonna like sleep with the person and then figure it out as we go, right? But then what tends to happen is that we get into relationships that are the last 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 20 years, and many, many years down the line, we realize that there's a incompatibility in the sex life of the two people, whether one person has a higher libido than the other, or one person wants to have a type of sex that the other person isn't interested in, right? And so what tends to happen is a sexual incompatibility, and you're just not compatible sexual, and like that's cool, but it's best to figure that out in the dating phase rather than 10 years down the line when you're having these issues that could have been resolved in the beginning, right? So what I pretty much want to do with all of you that are watching is do a little bit of an activity, because I want you not only to learn about the importance of having these conversations, but I also want you to leave this live knowing a little bit about yourself that you can take with you as you're dating and engaging with new people to try to find your life partner, okay? So I'm going to be asking you a series of questions, and if you have a paper and a pen, go ahead and grab one, or you can even just answer these mentally. But these questions are going to prepare you to be able to go into a dating situation and say, hey, can we talk about sex? And now you're going to have literally a list of things that you know that you like and don't like that you can bring with you and ask those open questions. I know some of you are going to be like thinking, oh my God, but it's so awkward to talk about sex before we engage in sex. Let me tell you, it is more awkward to be naked in front of someone and be like, actually, like, I'm not really into the thing that you're doing right now. You know, it's like a mood killer. So why not have that conversation before you're killing the mood, right? Okay, so here you go. This question I love to ask individuals, especially when there's a libido issue or when I get questions like, my partner doesn't want to have sex with me, what do I do? Or my libido isn't up and like my partner is always like ready to go to town, but I don't know what to do. So ask yourself, in a romantic relationship, how important is sex to you on a scale of 1 to 5? 1 being, I'm totally cool if like sex never happens. Like if it happens, then dope. If not, then like I'm chilling. 5 being like sex needs to happen in my romantic relationship. It is highly important. Where are you on the spectrum? All right, now some true or false questions. I enjoy cuddling after sex. True or false? Feet are my thing. True or false? Sex on the first day is cool with me. True or false? I love body hair. True or false? Oral sex is something that I look forward to giving. True or false? In the bedroom, I'm more on the vanilla side. True or false? A sexually open relationship is something that I'm interested in. True or false? All right, now these next ones are going to be you finishing the sentence for yourself. My favorite type of foreplay is sexual intimacy for me means my boundaries in sexual spaces are, and my favorite sex position is. Okay, so now when you're engaging in these dating apps and getting to know people, I don't want to hear any of you that are listening right now say, I don't know what I like, because guess what? You just answered these questions and now you have knowledge of yourself that you can bring into these experiences. Speak about them openly and honestly. Now, if you're thinking to yourself, but I'm scared of scaring the other, I'm worried that I'm going to scare the other person away. Let me tell you something. If your truth scares the other person away, then that person is not for you. And that is okay. That is the beauty of dating. That is the beauty of being single. That is the beauty of these dating apps, is that you get to meet different people until you find the one that is in alignment with you. So thank you for having me. That's all I have for you. Have an awesome day. Thanks.
Great. Next we have Elsa Moreck, a modern dating and relationship coach. Over to you, Elsa. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Kerrys. And also thank you, Danny, for having me. Yeah, I'm excited and I'm happy that I came right after Jocelyn, because I'm going to actually piggyback on some of what she was saying, but just from a different angle. So pre-COVID, like right before everything happened, I was in a room giving a talk to a group of about 45 single people here in Austin, Texas, where I'm based. And everyone was complaining. Like not one person in the room was happy. And they were all single, they were all walks of life. There were older people, there were younger people. And everyone just kept sharing how there was so much superficiality in dating nowadays. There's so much ghosting, so much flaking, so much hurt. And everyone was just kind of exhausted, like men and women. And I think that sometimes people think that they're alone in their experiences. Like women think that they're the ones who have it bad. Men think that they're the ones who have it bad. But then when you get them together in a room, they're like, oh, cool. We both actually are on the same page here. And what I saw happen a lot before COVID was a lack of intentionality in dating. So people not really knowing what they want and doing things the opposite way. Instead of knowing what they want and then going after it, they were ending up in relationships only to figure out, I don't really know if I actually want this. And then at that point, there's been a sexual exchange. There's been a lot of emotional exchange. They've maybe met each other's friends. There's more entanglements, and then it's harder to walk away from it. So sometimes you get kind of looped in because it's a sunk cost. You're like, well, I've already invested this much. I might as well just keep continuing. And then, but the problem is there is a foundational incompatibility there. So much like Jocelyn was saying, like, wouldn't you rather find out if you were sexually compatible before you're naked? I believe that you should find out if you are romantically compatible before you get vulnerable, because vulnerability is the equivalent to being emotionally naked, right? It's revealing who you are to someone and really giving them the most intimate parts of yourself, whether it be mentally or physically. So what I help my clients do is I help them figure out what they want. That's like the basis of our work together. And so I'm going to actually pose a question to everyone who's watching. I want you to think about the last most expensive purchase that you made. And I'm talking like the most expensive purchase, whether it was a house, maybe it was a car, maybe it was a new cell phone. But I want you to think about the last most expensive purchase that you made. And then I just want to ask you, like, what went into that decision when you were buying it? Like, did you have like specs you were looking for ahead of time? Was there like a certain area of your life that you knew this item would help you solve? Did you compare it to alternatives? If so, how did you finally come to decide that that was the product or house or car that you were going to buy? Why was it so important for you to pause on this decision and really put thought into it? When it comes to our purchases, most people have a very objective, matter-of-fact way of going about it. People care about their money and they don't want to waste it on something that's not going to turn out to benefit them the way they thought. But what's ironic is that when I take that question and I ask it to people about their relationship history, there seems to be a lot less intentionality. And obviously this doesn't apply to everyone, but I, for a long time, was that person who would basically just find someone attractive and they're available. And then I kind of just end up in this thing with them. And then one day it's like, oh, hey, we're in a relationship. And only to find out like there's so many incompatibilities. So I've since learned that that level of intentionality that you put into buying the most expensive items of your life, that's the bare minimum level of intentionality that we should be putting into our dating lives. Because when you first meet someone, you have at least a few weeks where you haven't completely fallen for them yet. And that's your learning period. That's finding out, like, are you family oriented, if that's important to you? Are you open-minded? Are you accepting? Are you sex positive? Like, that's your chance to learn that person before you start giving more of yourself to them. So that's the first thing that I want you to think about, is having more intentionality in what you're looking for. The second thing is focusing less on trying to impress people and focusing more on connecting with people. So impressing and connecting are two very different agendas. When you're trying to impress someone, whether it's on a dating app or whether it's in person, you're putting on a persona. You're highlighting only the parts of you that you want the other person to see, and it's a very one-way road. It's like me, look at me, notice me, validate me, but there's no like reciprocation happening. When you're connecting with someone, that requires vulnerability. It requires you creating space for the other person to show you more of themselves. And I think it's quickly becoming a lost art because so many of us are occupied with this thing. And so we don't even have time to connect with people. And luckily, you know, despite all the things that have come out of COVID, I think for dating, COVID has actually been a blessing because it's forced people to just slow down and actually like get to know the other person. So when it comes to connection, like how do you actually build a connection with someone? I have a lot of men I work with who ask me like, how do I talk to women? Like, how do I keep the conversation going? They worry about like not being interesting enough or not being engaging enough. And I always tell them that's the problem. Like the question right there is the problem because you're still focused on impressing another person instead of creating a connection with her. If you want to create a connection with a woman, all you have to do is be completely present, not be distracted by the voices in your head, not be distracted by this over here, not be having a conversation in your head about like, why is she with me? She's out of my league. I don't stand a chance. Dump all that and then focus on actually connecting with her. What is she saying? What's important in the sentence that she just said? What are the emotions that she's experiencing? And then respond to that. So really being able to listen, not like listen while you have a story going on in your head, but like actually listen to what the other person is saying. That's how you build a connection. The other part of how you build a connection is by asking questions, because questions open up worlds. And what I see a lot happening on dating apps, and why my clients get so frustrated, is that like one person will be asking questions and the other person just isn't giving anything. They're not giving them anything to work with. So if someone's asking you questions, it's really easy. You can just write the word "you" and put a question mark at the end of your statement, and then you've just given them back the conversation. So questions. And then lastly, what a lot of the women that I work with, something that they experience is not being able to trust people. So after dating a series of people who have just disappointed them and broken their trust, they tend to be very layered, and it's really hard to get to that level of them that can actually be vulnerable and show up authentically. And so what happens is they show up to dates and they're very interview style about it. Very it's almost like an interrogation rather than an actual date, and understandably so, because they've been hurt and they don't want to waste their time. But I would urge you to think about, again, building a connection. You're going to get to know all the things that you need to know about someone without having to interrogate them, because A, people will give you the answers that you want to hear, and B, there's other ways to get the data that you're looking for without ruining that opportunity to build a genuine connection. Something that I always recommend that people do before they go on dates, much like we take regular showers and we do our hair, we put on our deodorant, we put on our, whatever essential oils or perfume. I recommend that you take an energy shower before you show up to a date. An energy shower, because guess what? You are going to impact the other person. The way that you feel about yourself is going to inform how they feel about you too. So if you show up to a date with your guard up, you're just there to drill through your list of questions. You're not really there to build a connection. You're there to find something wrong so that you can say, that's how it works. That's why I'm not dating right now. Then you're not really going to build anything out of that. So instead, take an energy shower, meditate, breathe. Breath is like one of the most underused tools in dating success. Breathe, and then show up to that date feeling good, feeling confident, and drop the expectations at the door. Dating is just about expanding your social network with the intention that one of those connections that you build will turn into something more. That's all dating is. It's just meeting people and having cool stories. Even bad dates make good stories. So yeah, I think that just to like sum it all up, have more intention, know what you want going into it, focus less on impressing and more on connecting. And the final thing is that rejection is part of the process for everyone. The coolest, most attractive, most accomplished people in the world still get rejected. So if you're gonna play, just know that that's part of the process. And I love to look at rejection as redirection, because I think that when people push us away from them, they push us closer to ourselves. Rejection is an opportunity for you to look inward and ask yourself, what happened there? How did I contribute to that? And it can be a very uncomfortable process, but can also be a very revelatory process, because no's light fire under our asses. Excuse my language, but no's push us to be better. And so I think that I have come to a point where I've learned to love rejection. It's not easy. It's easier to talk about it right now when I'm not experiencing it, but I have learned to just take it for what it is and to use it as an opportunity to redirect my energy. So those 3 points again are: date with more intentionality, focus less on impressing and more on connecting, and realize that rejection is redirection, and it's an inevitable part of the process.
Thanks, Elsa.
Yeah.
Very helpful hints and tips. We did actually get a question for you from Bradley.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bradley would like to know, how does a person come out of the friend zone and come into a relationship?
Okay, so it depends on how long you've been in the friend zone, but generally speaking, you need to start shifting the tone. So if it's just been like, if the conversations have been very platonic, if there hasn't been a lot of physical proximity, then you need to start shifting that tone, obviously with consent. But I would start by complimenting the other person more on their appearance and seeing how they respond to that. So like if you're complimenting, you know, your crush like 3 or 4 times a week, or, you know, twice every time you see them, and you're not getting anything back, then that's probably a sign that they're not really ready to evolve that into anything, or they're just not interested. But that's one way of knowing. The second thing is paying attention to body language. So we humans, we communicate, 80% of our communication happens actually non-verbally. So I love teaching people how to read body language. If someone wants to create more physical proximity with you, they're going to show that with their body. So, you know, they might sit closer to you. They might like, you know, brush their arm against yours once in a while. They might kind of like slap you when you say something funny, lightly slap you, of course. But you'll know also from someone's body language if they want to evolve something into a romantic connection. So that's what I would say. And then finally, if all else fails, you can have a conversation about it. So you can just let that person know, like, hey, these are kind of these are my feelings, and I'm curious, like, where are you at with that?
Right.
Or what are your feelings about it?
Great, thank you, Elsa. We have a few more questions coming in. We have one from Kira, and she asks for any tips for handling rejection or accepting rejection.
Yeah, any tips? Okay, so, I mean, frankly, rejection is a very introspective process. So it's something that no matter how many friends you share your experience with, unfortunately, you do kind of feel isolated in what's happening, because only you know how hurt you are. And because the only person who can really comfort you is the same person who put you in that predicament, it does tend to feel very isolating. But I would recommend using that time to really focus on self-care. So like sleep more if you have to, take hot baths, wear clothes that make you feel pretty, even if you're not planning to go anywhere, meditate, listen to high vibrational music, eat high vibrational food, hang out with high vibrational people, make it a period where you just surround yourself with everything you love, even if you're momentarily not able to enjoy it as you normally would.
Thank you. And we have one from Ashika. It's, how do you make a good first impression on a first date while staying genuine?
Good impression on a first date while staying genuine. Be yourself, but at the same time, you don't have to reveal everything on the first date. So I love the process of progressive disclosure, which is to say you progressively disclose more of yourself every time you see someone. I also really love matching the other person's energy. So if the other person doesn't really talk a lot, and then, you know, you try to fill that space with talking too much, then it doesn't really feel like an equal energetic exchange. So I like marrying the other person. Like how much are they sharing about themselves? How much are they talking? How much are they laughing? And then when you marry them, first of all, you build rapport, because people, when you marry someone, subconsciously you start, like, if you kind of position yourself the way they are, if you talk at the same tone, if you answer it in similar ways, you build more rapport with them. And then that way you feel safe, because vulnerability requires safety. You really need to feel safe before you are able to be vulnerable. And so one part of being genuine is just taking your time, not feeling like you have to express your entire life story on the first date.
Right.
And then finally, just listen better. I think when we listen, we know what to say a lot more organically. So just listen and you'll come off a lot more genuine. First of all, people are hungry for good listeners. So you'll stand out just by virtue of being a good listener, and you'll feel more genuine in your responses because you're not so rehearsed. You're in the moment.
Thanks, Elsa. Thank you. Okay, well, the next expert we have with us is Kolline. She's a love coach for men, and she has a 3-step method to help single men find the love they desire and attract their soulmate. So please tell us more about this.
Hi everyone, I'm Kolline. Thank you, Kerrys and Danny, for inviting me. So I have the 3-step coaching program, but today I put out 6 important tips to share with you from that program. So very high level, okay? So the first tip is identify and remove your limiting beliefs. So what are limiting beliefs? They are negative self-beliefs that you have created about yourself, women, love, dating, relationships. So these are what are the beliefs that are negative that prevent you from finding the love that you desire. So first we need to recognize them, identify them, remove them psychologically, and bring them to your consciousness, okay? So for example, negative beliefs could be women want rich men, or women can stay faithful. So these could be beliefs that you created because of your past relationship or childhood trauma. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy of love. So I have a client of mine who didn't believe that he was worthy of love. So what happened was when he was 6 years old, his dad asked him to bring him a cup of hot tea. So he was walking really fast with the hot tea in his hand. He spilled the tea on the floor. So his dad's comment was, "You don't do anything good, you're stupid." So that really kind of haunted him all his life. And in terms of how he showed up in his past relationships, and also how he showed up in all areas of his life, his careers, relationships, family, everything. So that negative beliefs create, and our thoughts create our current reality. So in order for us to improve ourselves, we need to go back and evaluate our current thoughts and negative beliefs about ourselves, remove them, go back, heal your past wounds, either it's from childhood trauma or past relationships from people that you dated before. Go back, forgive them, forgive yourself in those events in order for you to heal and move on. So you're more consciously aware every day while you're improving yourself, because thoughts create reality, okay? So that's number 1. And number 2 is be the best version of yourself. So these are the tips that help you transform your love life to a different level, okay? Be the best version of yourself so you can attract the woman that you desire. So what does that mean? Do you know who you are? And do you know who you want to be? What do you enjoy doing? Hobbies, interests? We know we have online dating profile, or you can meet people organically right now, but do you know how to showcase yourself, right? What are your good qualities and values that you like to share with them while you go on dates with them? Be present, be authentic. So identify these key issues of how to be the best version of yourself. We could improve every day. We evolve every day. So sometimes you might feel like, oh, I feel like I'm dating the same woman, but with different faces. So why is that? Because you're not happy, or you're not the best version of yourself. You're not gonna be able to meet a better woman or high value woman, okay? So that's really the concept behind is if you are not confident and you keep seeking and chasing women where you could give the self-love to you, investing in yourself, let's say for conferences, different passion, second career path, stuff like that. How do you become better and that you're happy? Because when you're happy, guess what? When you're happy, you're creating a happy energy. You're creating a higher vibrations. So women can sense that. You might not necessarily need to chase them. Like everywhere you go, let's say supermarket, just anywhere you are, they could sense that energy, and you become a magnet. So when you become a magnet, guess what? You attract women and you have more options. Okay? So basically, be the best version of yourself first. Give yourself the self-love and self-acceptance so you could be improved version of yourself. Be happy. Okay? You attract more women to you. Number 3 is understanding what women are looking for. Women are attracted to men who make them feel secure, safe, and protected. Women are attracted to men who are emotionally mature. That means they can carry themselves confidently in social settings. Women are attracted to men who could have open communication. So which means they could be vulnerable in sharing their feelings and emotions. So if something that you did that hurt your partner, and if you're willing to share something that triggered you from the past relationship, if you're willing to share that vulnerably, your partner will be able to understand you in a deeper level. Okay, so women love that. Women love you to share your feelings and emotions. Okay, and women are attracted to men who can provide, who, although that we are currently financially independent, so which means there might be times in our life, such as when we have babies, or we're creating family, or we could be on maternity, that we will want a partner who is financially stronger than us to support us during that time, or support the family during that time. So that's what women are looking for. And women are also looking for a passionate, loving, intimate relationship with you, okay? Women are attracted for, because we have a lot of passion right now. High value women may have second business. We are busy in our daily lives, and we really are looking for a partner who could support our passion, career. And we also develop common goals as a couple, okay? Lastly, I talked about being the best version of ourselves. So women are looking for you to also have your core happiness, right? So that when you're together, you both positively contribute to make the relationship better and happier together. So the key is you need to be happy on your own, and happiness is a choice. Every day when you wake up in the morning, you could be happy. Thoughts create reality, right? So when you are together, you are happier, and you can ask yourself, why do you want to be in a do you want to be in a relationship because for better reasons, such as so you could be happier together, you have common goals that you want to achieve, or do you want to be in a relationship so you are feeding validations from the other person? Okay, so that's something that you want to look at.
Thanks for all your expertise. And last but by no means least, I'd like to introduce Lisa Concepcion.
Hi, everybody. Nice. Happy Sunday to everybody. I mean, whenever you're going to see this, it's Sunday for all of us here, but I'm doing great. I'm so grateful to be part of this panel. I have been taking notes. I have been learning from all of you, so I'm so happy to have a little enlightenment too for me in my relationship. So a little bit about me before I begin focusing on you and giving you some tips and insights and things that you're going to be able to put in play immediately. I became a certified professional love life coach mainly because I came out of a very dark time myself after my divorce. I revamped everything in my life, my faith, my career. I started to really focus on self-love and self-care. And I was a classic codependent. And I had to come through that through inner work and inner child, massive reparenting, get a lot of clarity about the past traumas and things that happened to me that orchestrated these and formed these beliefs that I then took with me into the future, into my life, where I made everyone outside of me situations, circumstances responsible for my good feeling, which is a trap. And I was married to a wonderful man. We're still great friends. We consider each other family. We don't have children together, but I know him for over 27 years now. We met when we were in college, and he's my ex-husband. We were together for 17 years. And I tell you, coming through that and getting out of the other side of it was transformative for me. So when I come to my clients who are typically type A professionals who are very smart when it comes to career and professional life, but for some reason they struggle when it comes to love and they don't really know why, just as I was. Smart girl, had it together, knew how to make her money. But for the life of me, because I was codependent, had no idea, I was bringing all of this energy and putting it on to everybody in my life. So once I handled that, I really started to focus on helping people who had these codependent tendencies to understand what was the origin of them and how to transform them and shift them so they can start to step into their own personal power, into their faith, understanding where their worthiness truly, truly comes from. And the good news is, hint, hint, it does not come from people. Your worthiness does not come from money, from people, from a job, from a profession. It could make you feel great, right? People giving you love, putting love on you, money coming in. Of course it feels wonderful, but your worthiness, your true worth does not come from those things. And once you step into that knowledge of knowing where your true worthiness comes from, you are well, let's see, how can I say this? You are un-F-withable. I want to be PG-13 about it. And it's very powerful. It's very powerful because you're not connected to an outcome anymore. You're not connected to what other people are doing and trying to control them, trying to make them into what you think they should be. You just accept people for who they are, and if they're into you, cool. And if they're not, all good. That means someone else will be. So I approached coaching from a very holistic perspective. I look at the total of the person, and I look at their energy. And I look at how they are coming at dating from a mindset perspective, because that affects your vibrational continence. It impacts how you're going to vibe with other people, and in turn, what you're going to attract. So I wrote down, and given all of these wonderful tips and insights that all the other ladies on this platform shared, I was taking notes, and I can say, okay, let me take what some of these insights are and just build on them. So the first thing that I always encourage people to do is get very clear about what they want for their own life. That's number one. Once you have clarity about what you're going for you, then it is easier for you to determine, okay, based on my journey, where I want to see myself in the next year to 5 years, what kind of partner is aligned with that? How often do I want to see this person? What do they have to give, and what do I have to give them? How available am I really? I coach so many people who come to me and they say, I want a husband, I want a wife, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready. And then I say to them, okay, tell me a little bit about your life. Tell me, where are you on a Wednesday at noon? And they say, oh my goodness, like I don't have fun at all because I'm always working. Oh, what do? I have 3 businesses. I have a business with my brother. I have this business. I have that business. I'm lucky I'm even on the phone with you, Lisa, but I do want my person. And I say to them, my love, you have to look at your life and the room that you're creating for this other person, the energy to receive them. Otherwise, you're going to block them at every turn. So it's wonderful to have the desire to want a partner. And it's wonderful that you have all these ambitions and these businesses, and do it. But be mindful that you are not necessarily creating the space, the optimal space, to invite in that other energy, that whole other person with their ambitions and their goals and their dreams, that you're going to be spectating one another as you move forward in your endeavors. So that brings me to the second thing is, when you are looking for this person who's going to complement your life, be very clear on your values. Now, during this time of COVID, we have had ample time to really reflect and get inside ourselves to reassess what really matters to us now in life. Our families, we're reconnecting with them even through Zoom. We're reconnecting with relatives that we haven't seen in forever because we're bored, where we need connection. We're looking at our lives like, oh my God, how many times could I rearrange my closets and organize I'm bored. What more can I do? So we're like, okay, I want to connect with people. I encourage people to create Zoom calls with people from their high school, people from college. Continue to maintain those friendships and those relationships, even during these times where we're very much put into isolation and solitude. And let me tell you, that can trigger a lot of past stuff. When you're alone, even if you're in a relationship, you're doing your own thing, you're doing it. But for the single people out there, this has been a very, very intense time of loneliness, things of triggering, of loneliness, of past versions of you when you were little, things that happened, traumas. I know somebody mentioned how important it is to handle your past traumas, reparent yourself, really give yourself the things that you wish your parents gave you. I do a wonderful process with my clients that I've done on myself and I continue to do to this day. It requires radical reparenting, and I even extended it to radical revisiting, meaning you go back to past versions of yourself where maybe you made decisions that you weren't necessarily proud of, and your mental self-talk has you stuck, ruminating. I should have done this. Maybe if I took this job, maybe if I didn't date this guy for 5 years, I wouldn't have wasted my 30s. Maybe if I did this. And it's self-talk that keeps you limited and stuck. The best thing to do, and this is a method that I teach, is to imagine that version of yourself separate. It's a past separate version. And if you don't handle them, they will run the show when it comes to relationships. So it's very important to have them step aside you, and as if you're visiting them, as if you're talking to your truest love, your bestest friend, as you're talking to yourself, even as that little child version of yourself. You would never yell at that child. You would never say to your 5-year-old self who's learning how to ride a bicycle, hey, idiot, you fell, get up and do it again. You're a moron. You would never, ever say that. You would say, my love, you're doing so good. Are you okay? I know you skinned your knee. Let me see what happened. Okay, let me clean you up. I love you so much. You're doing so good. Stick with it. I'm going to hold the back of the bike and you're going to go. You're going to do it. I have faith in you. I believe in you. This is the self-talk that we want to cultivate with ourselves. So that being said, the third thing I encourage people to do is to date for data. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean, dating for data is asking these open-ended questions just to listen and to hear where people are at in their life. I'll give you an example. I wrote a blog. You can find it on my website. I'll give you that information as we close. And it's 20 great questions to ask on a first date. Now, I've studied neuro-linguistic programming, otherwise known as NLP, and it's a great technique that by using words and by using intonation and reflection of your words and the reflection on the other person of their words, you could literally change the state of someone else simply by using certain kinds of words. So I'll give you an example. One of my favorite questions that I encourage people to ask on a date is, so tell me about yourself. What do you like to do for fun? Now, that one question, very open-ended, what do you like to do for fun? Can you imagine the amount of information that you can garner from that one question? In that one question, I've been able to ascertain where someone lives, what they do for their career, how many children do they have pets, do they work out, all of the things that I'm listening for that I know I value in a person. So when you ask a person, tell me about yourself, what do you like to do for fun? And they come back and say, wow, great question. I haven't really had a whole lot of fun these days. I've been, in the quarantine. I haven't really been doing much. I've been really low and really negative. What do you think that's going to do for you? Don't you think you're going to say, well, I don't think this person is for me? As opposed to a person who says, in response to the same question, tell me about yourself. What do you like to do for fun? Oh, well, I have this great dragon boat racing thing that I do, and we're doing it still, but instead of 12 people, we do it less so we can social distance, but we're still doing it. And I also have a cooking thing that I do on Zoom, and I learn how to cook, and I do these recipes, so that's been keeping me having fun. Somebody who really wants to be up level in their vibration, somebody who's open but not desperate, and somebody who really has an idea of their values and what they want out of their lives as well. The other thing is communicating, owning what you want truly, and communicating it with grace. A lot of times people who are very, they're a little frustrated, they've been dating online and they've been dating for a while and they know what they want, but they communicate it with an energy of frustration, of, I've been doing this for so long, this is the energy that they're bringing. Even though they come pretty and they're all dressed up nice and handsome and whatever, they still energetically are coming with a sense of, another date, let's see what's gonna happen with this one. Great, another waste of my time. It's so important to come to a dating situation. I think Elsa mentioned it earlier, I couldn't agree more, with an energetic frequency of openness, of curiosity, of fun, of let's see what adventure this is gonna be. I'm gonna see a new person, let's see what's up, let's see if we vibe. So it's really keeping very mindful of your own attitude, your own language, your own energetic frequency coming into a date. And it could be hard, I know, like when you're dating a long time, it gets at you, it really does. And that's why, it's very important to get into that sweet spot of dating. And I call the sweet spot of dating open for love. I'm open, but I don't need it. I need it the right way. Better alone than in bad company. So I'm open to love, but hey, if it doesn't happen tonight, honey, it's all good. It's all cool. You know why? Because I have me. I'm never alone. I have me. I have source. I'm aligned. My love and my value does not come from other people. It comes from source energy, God, whatever you want to call it. And when you have that, you have everything. And you ooze it. People want to be around people who are very solid and grounded in themselves. So I know there was a wonderful advice as far as doing things on a daily basis that put you in a state of joy, being very intentional about what it is you want for your own life, because when you get to the table, literally, and you're sitting, albeit 6 feet away from somebody on a date, you're going to communicate with love and joy exactly what you want and exactly where you are in your life, with no apologies. You're going to own it. You're going to be graceful. Jocelyn mentioned earlier about sex. Where you stand on sex is so important. And if you are the kind of person who really, especially now in COVID, and you've reevaluated your life and you're just like, listen, I date and I build rapport and I want someone to fall in love with me on a soul level before they get access to my body. I work out a lot. I eat well. I put a lot of energy and effort into this temple of my soul, and it is not to just be given out like, candy. It is just not, and I think a lot of people see that as very high value. I think a lot of people, especially these days, they see that as somebody who they can trust more, because think about it, if you're very mindful and honoring of your mind, your body, and your spirit, and you say that, it is inspiring to other people. It really is. And they know that this is the difference between someone I can have fun with and do a little romp in the bed with versus somebody I can build an actual strong, committed relationship with. And it really depends on what you're looking for. And that's why it's very, very important to set those intentions. If you're coming on a dating app for fun and just to have a good time, wonderful. If that's the season of your life, fantastic. But understand that if you are coming at an online app of any kind with an intentionality of, I want a serious long-term committed relationship, I'm looking to be a mother, I'm looking for, or a father, I'm looking for that serious partnership, there's a very different energy and therefore different questions that one must ask to ascertain if that other person is aligned with you. And then finally, be very mindful of who you are attracting. Look at patterns. If you're attracting unavailable people, liars, narcissistic people, Take that as an indicator of work that you need to do internally to protect yourself. And what do I mean by work internally? Reassessing past wounds, reassessing those traumas, those beliefs, those thoughts that keep you in a loop of a lack and a scarcity. You want to date from a place of abundance, from a place of power and purpose. And with that, you can visit and get some free goodies from my website, lovequestcoaching.com. That's lovequestcoaching.com. You can go there and there's a free love life assessment that you can take. I also have several free downloadable audio guide listening book things that I created. You help yourself to that. I have lots of, my love language is gifts. So honey, I give stuff away for free on my website like crazy. So enjoy that, help yourself to that. And if you want to connect with me on Instagram, if that's your jam, I am Lisa the Love Coach on Instagram. And add me, I add you back. I love following people, getting into conversations with them. And look, we are all, like they say, in this together. No need to be freaking out. Just chill out, have something nice to drink, enjoy your Sunday, enjoy your life, and trust that something greater is always loving you, always guiding you, and you are never, ever alone.
Thank you so much, Lisa.
You're
Very
welcome.
positive. That was great. I do actually have a couple of questions for you.
Okay.
And I also have a couple of questions that have come in last minute for Jocelyn. So if you don't mind hanging on to Jocelyn, great.
Please.
So this one's for you, Lisa. It's from Hakeem, and he's just looking for some tips on keeping a long distance relationship healthy.
Oh, Hakeem, I love this question. I just took my 4-year relationship into long distance land. So this is amazing that we're vibing on that same level. Okay, so here's what I'm doing, okay? Communication. We check in a few times per day. We're using video, we're WhatsApping. I have this beautiful couch. I named it Cream Puff. I just moved into a new development. I'm so excited. And I said to the boyfriend, I said, baby, come see this Cream Puff couch. And I showed him the video, and so he's brought into the experience with me. He sees me, let's see, every week he'll come and drive up, and he'll stay for like 4 days. So if it is possible, keep that time together where maybe you arrange a schedule that works for the both of you, but be a team about it, include each other in the day-to-day minutia, check in, and keep that line of communication going and have fun with it.
Great, thank you. I also have one from Walter, and he's, as a parent, when is the right time to tell the person that you have children?
As soon as possible. Those are your babies. They're a huge part of your life, and they're going to impact. And this is whatever age. It doesn't matter, if you're a dad and you have, 15-year-old or a 5-year-old. Your connection to your babies, until they're old and gray, they're your babies. So this is going to obviously impact the level of accessibility that you have, the level of availability that you have, and also the person may or may not be in a season of their life where they're open to being with somebody who has children. And that's very important, because if you have children, you obviously have to be with somebody who is open to receiving the love and the dynamic of dating a person who has children.
Thank you. And I have a question from Alex. What strategies for straight couples and dating apply to a gay relationship?
Ooh, I love this question. Okay, so I would say energy is everything. And the number one thing that sees through sexual orientation or whatever is energy. And so if everybody can be mindful of their own energetic grooming, meaning what are you doing to keep yourself in a high vibration for your partner? Because from a high vibration, the money will flow, the sex will be good, the friendship and rapport and respect will be good. And these are all values that apply to everybody. Gay, straight, doesn't matter. Everybody wants respect. Everybody wants to give and receive respect. Everybody wants to feel that sense of connection with one another. And through managing your own energy, your own energetic frequency, and your dominant frequency. Because look, we all up and down all day. Things happen in our lives and we're reacting and responding. It's just the way we are wired as souls in a human experience. But when you're very aware of your triggers, the things that you're working on within yourself, and you are able to cultivate peace within yourself and bring a peaceful, harmonious person to your partner, the relationship will be way less stressful. It'll be, flourishing, and you'll be able to support and hold space for that partner. Because if you have your own energetic frequency on point and you're able to take full responsibility for yourself, you're bringing that to your partner and encouraging them to bring the same to you. And that will always bode well in a relationship. I hope that helps you.
Thank you, Lisa. Thank you. So before we go on to Jocelyn's questions, I was just wanted to give everyone an opportunity to give us your social media. So if we could start with Elsa Moreck.
Yes, I am Elsa Moreck Dating on Instagram. So that's just Elsa, E-L-S-A, my last name, M-O-R-E-C-K, dating on Instagram. And my website is elsamoreck.com. I'm very active on Instagram, so definitely follow me there if that's your thing.
Thank you, Elsa. And Kolline, please.
Okay, I'm under Kolline Lee Coaching on Instagram, Facebook, also LinkedIn. And my website is kollineleecoaching.com. I would like you to sign up for the free call so we can understand, I can help you understand a little bit more about my coaching program. Thank you.
Thanks, Kolline. And we already got yours, Lisa, so thank you. Jocelyn, over to you, please.
Hi, yeah. So if you want to connect with me, my Instagram is sexcoachjocelyn. Jocelyn spelled Jocelyn. I also have a TikTok. My TikTok is Empower Inner You, where I have a lot of free content that is really helpful, some sex tips and some educational videos. Also, my website is www.jocelynsilva.com. My one-on-one coaching program right now isn't currently in hiatus, but if you'd like to sign up, you can do that on my website to get put onto the wait list. And I am coming out with a group coaching program for women and femmes starting in September, and enrollment opens tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that.
Thanks, Jocelyn. I'm going to go straight into the questions, if that's okay, Jocelyn. We have a question from Sherry. What if I am not comfortable sharing how I feel towards someone?
Awesome. Great question, Sherry. First of all, I just want to say, Kolline, Elsa, Lisa, y'all are like amazing. Like my energy is so high right now and I'm so excited to like tackle my Sunday. All right, I love y'all. Okay, so Sherry, awesome question. So I'm typically very like, we gotta be like going with the flow in life. And like Lisa said, it's all about the energy that you bring in and understanding all of that. But there is one thing that I do not budge on, and that is if you cannot talk about sex with the person you're having sex with, then you probably shouldn't be having sex with them. And that is just what it is. And so if you're feeling uncomfortable with having these conversations with the people you're engaging in, my guess is that discomfort isn't just with another person, but it is probably also within yourself. So what I would recommend is for you to go on your own sexual discovery journey. So figuring out what you like, what you don't like, what feels good, what doesn't feel good. Also, if you feel like you have mastered this idea of who you are sexually, you're still having this discomfort, talk about it in a non-sexual space. Usually like when you're having dinner, like you're out, in like a restaurant, there's like a public space, and just kind of start asking questions is a really great way to open up that conversation. And usually when you ask questions, a question will come back to you, and sometimes hearing someone else share about their preferences will allow you to feel more comfortable sharing about your preferences. So open that door so that you can get the courage to be able to speak about yourself, because what you desire is incredibly important and you want to make sure that you treat it that way.
Sherry also added on, thank you so much. It was, if a man never shares his feelings with you, is it a sign that he's not interested?
That's a great question. So I absolutely love that Elsa mentioned vulnerability, because I actually talk a lot about vulnerability in my coaching as well. And it's important to meet people where they're at, right? So if you are an individual that cherishes and really values open and honest and vulnerable conversations, and you are dating someone who isn't on that level, but you're really interested in them, I'm a huge advocate for couples counseling. A lot of people say like, oh, but I'm dating, isn't that too soon? Well, here's the thing. It's like, it's almost like preventative care, right? Being able to like have that person to mediate that conversation and help you be able to express the things that you're having a hard time expressing. If that person is not ready for that and they're just like, you know, I just don't do feelings, but that's something that you cherish and that you value, like everyone has said, it is okay if you're not compatible. Find yourself someone who's open and willing to have those open and honest and vulnerable conversations with you. Because it's important, yes, to meet people where they're at, but also to understand that that is something that is important to you and something that you value.
Great. Thank you.
I hope that answered your question.
Yes. And another question has come in for Lisa, if that's okay, to go back.
Cool.
It's from Moni, and it's, what do you think it's more meaningful in a relationship or a date? Compatibility about interests or chemistry?
Ooh, so, wow, such a good question. So I'm an abundance girl. I don't live in an either or existence. I think most successful people do not ascribe to it's either or this or that. I say all of it, honey. You got to have the compatibility because you want to build rapport and connection and friendship, and you're building an empire potentially with somebody, right? So you got to vibe with each other. You have to have a lot of the same values. You have to see the world in enough similar ways that count and enough different ways that enlighten you and open you up to new ways of thinking. Then when it comes to chemistry, honey, you got to want to rip their clothes off. You have to look at them and be like, wow, look at this. You're looking yummy today. Physically, energetically, you just got to be like, this is my person and I love them. I love them. Yummy, yummy, yummy. And that's an important part of the mix as well. So don't limit yourself to, is it chemistry or is it compatibility? Go for all of it. Like I said in the beginning, know what you want for your life. Know what your values are so that then you can list out exactly what those things are that you want in a partner, and know full on that you deserve it and it already exists for you. What you can think already exists. The fact that you're thinking it means that it already exists. Now this gets you into quantum realm and, you know, a whole other conversation, but just have peace knowing that this person that you have in your mind exists. All you have to do is get on an energetic frequency to receive them. You already asked. The universe heard it. It's done. They have it right here. Hey, my love, here's your person. Your job is get into a good feeling place. Understand what it is that I'm worthy of, which is everything. Know that you're divinely loved and guided, and you receive it. I receive it with joy. I know this person exists for me. I don't even have to sweat it anymore. I don't have to worry or have anxiety about it. Compatibility and chemistry, both. You're worthy of both.
Great, thank you. I have a question here for all of you. It's actually, how do you approach online dating when you're not comfortable with how you look on the photos? Whoever wants to go first.
Okay, so the first thing, and this is common, and Lord knows in the years that I have been on this planet, things have changed. Body changes, wrinkles happen, grays are coming in, like things change. Really what it is loving yourself first, most, best, and always. And this is why that is so important. The person who is in existence for you will love you exactly how you are. They are looking for you. They do not want anything other than you. So this thing about I don't like how I look and this and that is certainly something to handle. It is probably, I'm going to say 99.9% certain that it is not you on this little forum that we have right now. It is a version of you, a past wounded version of you. Somebody in your past made you feel not enough, not pretty enough, and that has stayed with you. And it is manifested in a very hypercritical, self-sabotaging almost way where your self-talk is, oh, look at this picture, I look terrible. Look at this, honey, go in your closet today. I want you to pick out 5 of your most comfortable favorite outfits and practice, even if it's just little snapping selfies in the privacy of your own home. Get that exercise going of looking at each picture and pick out 3 things that you like about that picture. Look at my hair, it looks good today. God bless my skin, oh my God, my skin's clear. Oh my goodness, I never knew I had such a radiant smile. See the good in yourself and make it an exercise. If you struggle with that and it's a self-esteem thing, try. It's like a muscle. It's like going to the gym. You have to just be like, okay, I'm gonna snap 3 selfies of myself in this favorite little outfit, and I'm gonna be like, wow, I like this, I like this. And if that's even hard, switch it to gratitude. I'm grateful that I have the ability to walk and to breathe on my own independently, and to drive a car, and start seeing, wow, my body can do amazing things. Like, I'm able to do all these things. And then you put it into gratitude. It might take the electric charge, the energetic charge away from not really liking what you look like. I hope that helps you.
Thank you. Kolline?
Yes, I like what Lisa's saying. I agree with them. And I also have a suggestion. What you could do is you could look at yourself in the mirror every day in the morning and say, I am enough 10 times every day until you feel comfortable. And you could have your phone and do selfies. Practice makes perfect. And don't forget about what I said about thoughts create reality. Change your thoughts. We evolve every day to be the best version of ourselves. You could do it, okay?
Thanks, Kolline. Elsa.
Yeah, I love both of what Lisa and Kolline said. Also, to second Jocelyn, this is such a great group. The energy is just amazing. So they've actually done studies to show that people who are most desirable on dating apps do indeed get the most matches. That is the reality of it. So people who are beautiful or handsome or whatever, sexy by societal standards, do get the most matches. However, those matches don't always translate into long-term sustainable relationships. So when you're on a dating app, the point isn't to get validated. We're not playing Temple Run on our phone. It's not a game of ding, 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 right? The point of the app is to create a connection with someone that you can actually have a sustainable relationship with. And so research also shows that the profiles that have translated into long-term relationships are actually not the most desirable by societal standard profiles. It's actually the profiles with the most writing on them. So really your goal on this app should be to highlight your personality. It's to make yourself as 3D as possible using this 2D medium. So like any pictures, any videos that you have doing something that you love, any like quirky thing about you that you can put into writing that can really give someone else an idea of what it's like to hang out with you, what your energy is like. That's really what you should trying to be putting across on your profile.
Very helpful. Thanks, Elsa.
Yeah.
And lastly but not least, Jocelyn, please.
Yeah, literally everything I was gonna say, all y'all said it, but I do have one more suggestion or thing that you can add on to the list of the wonderful suggestions that everyone has given is I'm willing to bet that this isn't just about, I feel insecure these pictures. This is, I think like Lisa mentioned, part of like an inner child, much like wound that has come from the past. And so just like we are in relationship with other people, right? Like if we say something that hurts someone's feelings, we apologize and we make amends and we restore that relationship. It sounds like it is time for you to restore that relationship with yourself. And a really great way to be able to do that is writing a letter to your body. Writing an open and honest letter to your body. How do you feel? Do you need to make amends, right? What have you gone through with your body? What has your body done for you? What have you done to your body that you're not happy or proud of? And just having an open and honest conversation with your body, literally getting a paper and a pen and saying, dear body, and just writing everything out is a really great way for you to start gaining a relationship with yourself, so that when you're taking those pictures and you're doing like the practicing snapshots at your home, like Lisa said, and the mirror practices, like Kolline said, and when you're working on like making yourself more dynamic in 3D, like Elsa said, you're also healing a deeper wound inside of you so that you can not only look good on the app, but also feel good in your everyday life.
Thank you. Well, guys, this has been a thoroughly enjoyable Sunday morning for me. I learned a load, and I just want to thank you all for coming and sharing all your knowledge. And thank you to everyone who joined us live. And for more fun events like this, follow us on Instagram at Meet Sparka.